Nehemiah 1. The words of Nehemiah, son of Hakaliah. It was during the month of Kislev of the 20th year, and I was in the capital city of Shushan. Hanani, one of my brethren, came, he and men from Judah, and I inquired of them about the Jews who had survived, who remained of the captivity, and about Jerusalem. They said to me, "The remaining ones who remained of the captivity there in the province are in great misery and humiliation. The wall of Jerusalem is breached, and its gates have been set afire." It was when I heard these words that I sat up and wept and grieved for days, and I fasted and prayed before the God of the heavens. I said, "I beseech you, Hashem, God of the heavens, the great and awesome God, keeper of the covenant, and of kindness for those who love him, and for those who observe his commandments. Please, may your ear be attentive and your eyes be open to listen to your servant's prayer, which I pray before you today, day and night, for the children of Israel, your servants. I confess to the sins of the children of Israel that we have sinned against you. I and my father's household have sinned. We have been destructive toward you. We have not observed the commandments, the precepts, and the laws that you commanded your servant Moses. Remember, please, the word that you commanded your servant Moses, saying, 'If you will act with treachery, I will disperse you among the nations. But when you return to me and observe my commandments and perform them, even if the banished among you reach the ends of the heaven, I shall gather them from there and bring them to the place that I have chosen to rest my name. For they are your servants and your people whom you redeemed with your great strength and with your powerful hand. I beseech you, my Lord, please let your ear be attentive to the prayer of your servant and to the prayer of your servants who desire to fear your name, and grant your servant success this day and make him the object of compassion before this man." I was the king's cupbearer. Nehemiah 2. It happened in the month of Nisan of the 20th year of King Artaxerxes that wine was brought before him. I carried the wine and gave it to the king. I had never before appeared downcast in his presence. So the king said to me, "Why is your face downcast? You are not ill. This can only signify that there is evil in your heart." I became very frightened. I said to the king, "May the king live forever. Why should my face not be downcast when the city of my ancestors' graves is in ruin, and its gates are consumed by fire?" The king said to me, "What is it that you request?" I then prayed to the God of heaven, and I said to the king, "If it please the king, and if your servant is worthy before you, then send me to Judah, to the city of my ancestors' graves, that I may rebuild it." The king said to me, with the queen sitting beside him, "When will you depart, and when will you return?" It pleased the king, and he gave me leave, and I gave him a time. Then I said to the king, "If it please the king, let them give me letters for the governors of the Trans-Euphrates region, so that they will grant me passage until I arrive in Judah, and a letter for Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he should give me timber to roof the gates of the temple complex, and for the walls of the city, and for the home into which I will enter." The king granted me this by the hand of my God, which was benevolent to me. I came to the governors of the Trans-Euphrates region and gave them the king's letters. The king had sent army officers and horsemen with me. Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah, the Ammonite slave, heard, and they were extremely disturbed that someone had come to seek the welfare of the children of Israel. I arrived in Jerusalem and was there for 3 days. I arose during the night, I and a few people with me, but I did not tell anyone what my God had set in my heart to do for Jerusalem. I had no animal with me except the animal upon which I was riding. I went out at night through the gate of the valley toward the direction of the Serpent Spring to the Dung Gate. I contemplated the walls of Jerusalem which had been breached, and its gates consumed by fire. I then passed on to the Spring Gate and the King's Pool, but there was no room for the animal under me to pass. I went up the valley in the night and I contemplated the wall. Then I turned back, and I entered by the gate of the valley and returned. The nobles did not know where I had gone nor what I was doing, for I had not as yet informed the Jews and the Kohanim and the aristocrats and the nobles and the others who did the work. So I said to them, "You see the bad situation we are in, that Jerusalem is in ruin and its gates have been burned in fire. Come, let us build the wall of Jerusalem, so that we will no longer be a source of humiliation." I told them of the hand of my God which was benevolent to me, and also of the king's words that he had said to me. They said, "Let us get up and build." And they strengthened their hands in resolve for the benefit of the city. Sanballat the Horonite, Tobiah the Ammonite slave, and Geshem the Arab heard. They ridiculed us and were contemptuous of us and said, "What is this thing you are doing? You are rebelling against the king." I answered them a word. I said to them, "The God of heaven will grant us success, and we, his servants, will arise and build. But you have no portion, nor merit, nor remembrance in Jerusalem." Nehemiah 3. Eliashib the Kohen Gadol arose, along with his brethren the Kohanim, and they rebuilt the sheep gate. They sanctified it and erected its doors. They sanctified the wall up to the tower of Hameah and up to the tower of Hananel. Next to him, the men of Jericho built the wall. And next to him, Sakur, son of Imri, built. The children of Hasenah built the fish gate. They roofed it and erected its doors, its locks, and its bars. Next to them, Meremoth, son of Uriah, son of Hakkoz, reinforced the wall. Next to them, Meshullam, son of Berechiah, son of Meshezabel, reinforced. Next to them, Sadok, son of Bana, reinforced. Next to them, the Tekoites reinforced. But their dignitaries did not put their necks to the labor of their lord. Joiada, son of Paseah, and Meshullam, son of Besodiah, reinforced the old gate. They roofed it and erected its doors, its locks, and its bars. Next to them, Melatiah the Gibeonite, Jadon the Meronothite, and the men of Gibeon and Mizpah reinforced up to the seat of the governor of the Trans-Euphrates region. Next to him, Uzziel, son of Hariah, of the goldsmiths, reinforced. Next to him, Hananiah, son of the perfumers, reinforced. They fortified Jerusalem up to the broad wall. Next to them, Rephaiah, son of Hur, the officer over half the district of Jerusalem, reinforced. Next to them, opposite his house, Jediah, son of Harumath, reinforced. Next to him, Hattush, son of Hashabneah, reinforced. Halshijah, son of Harim, and Hashub, son of the governor of Moab, reinforced a similar measure. And the tower of the ovens. Next to him, Shalom, son of Halohesh, the officer over half the district of Jerusalem, reinforced. He, together with his daughters. Hanun and the inhabitants of Sanoah reinforced the gate of the valley. They built it up and erected its doors, its locks, and its bars, along with 1,000 cubits of the wall, up to the dung gate. Malchijah, son of Reshab, officer of the district of Beth Sherem, reinforced the dung gate. He built it and erected its doors, its locks, and its bars. Shalun, son of Kol-Hezah, officer of the district of Mizpah, reinforced the spring gate. He built it, covered it, and erected its doors, its locks, and its bars. And also the wall of the pool of Shelah, up to the king's garden, and up to the steps descending from the city of David. Beyond this, Nehemiah, son of Aspuk, the officer of half the district of Beth-sur, reinforced up to opposite the graves of David, and up to the man-made pool, and up to the house of the warriors. Beyond this, the Levites reinforced. Rehum, son of Bani, next to him, Hashabiah, officer of half the district of Keilah, and his district reinforced. After him, their brothers under Bavi, son of Henadad, officer of half the district of Keilah, reinforced. Next to him, Ezer, son of Jeshua, son of Mizpah, reinforced a similar measure, opposite the ascent to the armory at the corner. After him, Baruch, son of Sakai, enthusiastically reinforced a similar measure, from the corner up to the entrance of the house of Eliashib the Kohen Gadol. After him, Meremoth, son of Uriah, son of Hakkoz, reinforced a similar measure. from the entrance of Eliashib's house up to the end of Eliashib's house. After him, the Kohanim, men of the plain, reinforced. After him, Benjamin and Hasub, opposite their houses. After him, Asariah, son of Messiah, son of Ananiah, reinforced near his house. After him, Binnui, son of Henadad, reinforced a similar measure, from the house of Asariah up to the corner and up to the tower. Palal, son of Usai, opposite the corner and the tower that extends from the king's upper house, which is adjacent to the prison courtyard. After him, Pedaiah, son of Parosh. The Nethinim who dwelt in Ophel, up to opposite the water gate on the east, and also the extending tower. After him, the Tekoites reinforced a similar measure, from opposite the great extending tower up to the wall of the Ophel. The Kohanim reinforced above the horse's gate, each one opposite his home. After him, Sadok, son of Immer, reinforced opposite his house. After him, Shemaiah, son of Shechaniah, guard of the eastern gate, reinforced. After him, Hananiah, son of Shelemiah, and Hanun, the sixth son of Salaph, reinforced a similar measure. After him, Meshullam, son of Bereshiah, reinforced opposite his chamber. After him, Malchijah, son of the goldsmith, reinforced up to the house of the Nethinim and the merchants, opposite Hamifkadate, up to the tower ascent. The smiths and merchants reinforced between the tower ascent and the sheep gate. It happened when Sanballat heard that we were building the wall that he became enraged, and he grew extremely angry, and he ridiculed the Jews. He spoke before his compatriots and the populace of Samaria and said, "What are these Jewish weaklings doing? Will they reinforce the wall? Will they bring offerings? Can they finish in a day? Can they restore the stones out of the mounds of dirt when they have been charred?" Tobiah the Ammonite was next to him, and he said, "Even that which they build, even if a fox were to go up, he would breach their stone wall. Hear, our God, that we are an object of scorn. Return their humiliation upon their own heads. Make them despoiled in a land of captivity. Do not cover up their sins, nor let their transgressions be eradicated from before you, for they have reviled the builders. Yet we built the wall. When the entire wall was joined halfway, the people were heartened to accomplish." Nehemiah 4. It happened when Sanballat and Tobiah, and the Arabs and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were being healed, that the breaches had begun to be sealed, they grew extremely angry. So they all banded together to come and do battle in Jerusalem, and to bring ruin upon it. So we prayed to our God, and we set up a guard over the workers by day and by night against them. Then the men of Judah said, "The strength of the bearer is failing, and the earth is abundant. We are not able to build the wall." And our enemies said, "They will not know of us nor see us before we come among them and kill them, and we halt the work." But then, when Jews who lived near them came and told us 10 times, "From all the places to which you return, they will come against us," I set up defenders beneath the site, behind the wall on the cliffs. I set up the people by families with their swords, their spears, and their bows. When I saw, I got up and said to the aristocrats and to the nobles and to the rest of the people, "Do not fear them. Remember the great and awesome Lord, and fight for your brothers, your sons and daughters, your wives, and your homes." It happened when our enemies heard that it had become known to us that God annulled their scheme. We all then returned to the wall, each man to his work. It happened from that day onward that half of my youth did the work, and half of them held the spears, the shields, and the bows, and the armor, and the officers backed the entire house of Judah. Those who built the wall and those who lifted and carried the burdens would do their work with one hand, while one hand held a weapon. As for the builders, each man's sword was girded at his side as they built. The one who sounded the shofar was next to me. I said to the aristocrats and to the nobles and to the rest of the people, "The work is great and extensive, and we are dispersed along the wall, distant from one another. To the place where you hear the sound of the shofar, there you are to gather yourselves to us. Our God will fight for us." So we did the work, with half of them grasping the spears, from the rising of the dawn until the emergence of the stars. Also, at that time I said to the people, "Let each man and his attendant spend the night in Jerusalem." Thus the night was a watch for us, and the day was work for us. Thus neither I, nor my brethren, nor my servants, nor the men of the watch who were under me, none of us removed our garments. No one disrobed, even to launder in water. Nehemiah 5. Now the outcry of the people and their wives concerning their Jewish brethren was great. There were those who said, "With our sons and with our daughters we are numerous. We must buy grain that we may eat and remain alive." And there were those who said, "We are mortgaging our fields and our vineyards and our homes to buy grain during the famine." And there were those who said, "We have borrowed money against our fields and our vineyards for the king's tax. Now, our flesh is as worthy as the flesh of our brethren, and our sons are as worthy as their sons. Yet we must press our sons and our daughters into being servants. Some of our daughters have been pressed into servitude, and our hands do not have the means to redeem them. And our fields and our vineyards are held by others." I became very angry when I heard their outcry in these matters. Then my heart moved me, and I confronted the aristocrats and the nobles, and said to them, "Are you creditors of loans against your brothers?" And I gathered a large crowd around them, and I said to them, "We have ransomed our brother Jews who were sold to non-Jews for as much as we could afford. Now, will you sell your brothers again, only to be resold to us?" They were silent. They could not find a response. Then I said, "The thing you are doing is not good. Surely you should walk with the fear of our God, because of the scorn of the nations, our enemies. I and my brethren and my servants as well have lent them money and grain. Let us all now relinquish this debt. Return to them now, this very day, their fields, their vineyards, their olive orchards, and their homes, as well as the hundreds in money, and the grain, the wine, and the oil that you hold against them." They replied, "We shall return it all, and we will make no demands of them. We shall do as you say." Then I summoned the Kohanim, and I administered an oath upon them to act in accordance with this matter. I also shook the hem of my garment and said, "So may God shake out from his home and from his toil any man who does not fulfill this matter, and so may he remain, shaken out and empty." The entire congregation said, "Amen," and they praised Hashem, and the people acted in accordance with this matter. Moreover, from the day that the king appointed me as governor of the land of Judah, from the 20th year until the 32nd year of King Artaxerxes, 12 years, I and my brethren did not eat of the governor's food. The former governors who were before me had imposed burdens upon the people and taken bread and wine from them, in addition to 40 silver shekels, and also their servants domineered over the people. But I did not do so because of my fear of God. Also, I supported the work of this wall, so we did not buy any field, and all of my servants were gathered there for work. Ordinary Jews and nobles, 150 men, in addition to those proselytes who came to us from the nations around us, were at my table. That which was prepared for each day was 1 bull, 6 selected sheep, and fowl prepared for me, and every 10 days a multitude of all sorts of wine. Yet, despite this, I did not request the governor's food, for the labor weighed heavily upon this people. Remember in my favor, O my God, all that I did for this people. Okay, so this book opens in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes. Nehemiah, who is the cupbearer of Artaxerxes, trusted by Artaxerxes, is given privilege to return to this Jewish construction project and manage it. Ezra is named with power and authority to restore the temple and these Jewish protocols. Nehemiah is named with power and authority to establish this wall and perimeter. Nearly immediately, there is opposition for the reconstruction of this wall. This is exactly as it was with the reconstruction of the temple. And it seems to be in accordance with these prophecies of difficulty. And I think it's impossible to say that these guys were not completely committed to the reconstruction of this wall. In one hand, there's a hammer, and in the other hand, there's a sword. I mean, these guys, they are ready to go. This shows dedication. I mean, they're going to have to want it. I think this qualifies. Notice, however, that the dedication of the labor is reserved for only the people who don't have any money or title or status. The elites do not lift their hands at all, but they totally oppress these Jews with high interest loans and usury and filthy dirtbaggery. This is all so that their brothers can be indebted. Nehemiah blows a fuse and he accuses these cockroaches of being worthless. So let's consider the dynamics here. Ezra, who is a no-nonsense religious leader. I mean, this guy's talking about divorce your wives or get out of my face. Nehemiah is a no-nonsense administrator. Likewise, this guy is making tough decisions. He sets up his administration to be completely independent of burden for his people. But generally speaking, politicians go to the rich people for the money and for the power. And then with this money and power, I guess the politicians are supposed to do something, but there is definitely a connection. Nehemiah is not following that system. He provides for the needs of his administration independently. And so not being under the thumb of, like rich guys looking for a return on their investment, Nehemiah absolutely shuts down these filthy practices. But he doesn't force these rich guys to share their wealth. Remember me in favor, God, for all that I have done for these people. This is what Nehemiah asks God. Thank you for watching. The NQE is out.